We're offering you the position, Mr. Jameson. A six-figure salary. Relocation. A new life. I had waited years to hear those words. I should have felt victorious. I should have been celebrating. But instead I said something that stunned even me. I'm sorry, I can't accept it. I'm a pioneer now. My work in the ministry means more to me. She paused. You're giving this up for what? I smiled. For Jehovah. That was the day I let go of everything the world promised, and Jehovah gave me something greater. Before I share the full story, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed to this channel. Your comments, your shares, your love. It means the world. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing so you don't miss more spiritually uplifting stories like this one. My name is Anthony Jameson. I'm just an ordinary brother who once chased all the things people said would bring success, money, titles, comfort. Born and raised in Georgia, USA, I grew up in the truth. My parents were both regular pioneers for a time, and our home was always full of watchtower study sessions and joyful field service mornings. But I didn't always appreciate what I had. By the time I was in college, ambition had me in a chokehold. While I still attended meetings and tried to maintain appearances, I secretly told myself, let me make it first. Jehovah will understand. And at first things did go well. I graduated top of my class, landed an executive job by 26. Promotions came quickly. I was the youngest in every boardroom I entered. But with each step higher in the world, I felt something slipping away. My peace, my spirituality, my closeness to Jehovah. Meetings became rushed. Ministry faded. My prayers turned mechanical. And when the pandemic hit, everything I thought was stable collapsed. My contract wasn't renewed. My apartment lease ended. And for the first time in years I had time. It was in that quiet, jobless period that something beautiful happened. I came back to Jehovah. This time with my whole heart. I reached out to an elder brother, Lyle, an older brother in our congregation known for his warmth and wisdom. He didn't lecture me. He simply said, Jehovah never stopped loving you. So let's walk back together. We started studying again. I began attending all meetings, started auxiliary pioneering, then regular pioneering. And soon, the fire I'd lost started burning again. That's when it happened. 6 months into my pioneering, I received an unexpected call. A global firm had seen my profile and wanted me for a regional strategy director role. 6-figure. Full relocation. A car. First-class flights. Status. The very dream I had once cried and prayed for. And now Jehovah allowed it to come, just when I had learned to want something better. I stood at the threshold of two worlds. In one hand, I held prestige, wealth and worldly success. In the other, I held simplicity, ministry, and peace with Jehovah. And on that cold Monday morning, with my Bible bag slung over my shoulder and a territory map in my hand, I chose peace. I chose Jehovah. What happened next? You'll want to hear it because Jehovah's blessings didn't stop at peace. They overflowed in a way that brought me to tears. After I ended that phone call with the company, I stood still for a moment, listening to the quiet hum of life outside my apartment. My heart was racing. Not from regret, but from something that felt deeper, purer, peace. It wasn't the kind of peace that comes from having everything figured out. It was the kind that whispers, you did the right thing. Jehovah saw it. I stepped outside. My service partner that day was Brother Malik, a young newly baptized brother who always showed up early with a smile on his face, and a beat-up Bible he carried everywhere. He grinned as I approached. You good Brother Jameson? I nodded. Still a little stunned. Yeah. Just turned down a job offer. He raised an eyebrow. You serious? I nodded again. Big one. Huge money. But it would have meant stepping back from the ministry. He just looked at me for a moment. Then he said something I'll never forget. Just passed a test. I pray I'd have the courage to pass. We prayed together before heading into the field. That day, nothing spectacular happened. No dramatic return visits. No sudden interest. Just humble, faithful preaching from door to door. But it felt like I was walking with purpose again. 3 weeks later, The congregation was buzzing with excitement. A traveling overseer visit was approaching. The elders had asked me to help coordinate a few things. I felt honored just to be included. After one meeting, Brother Lyle pulled me aside. "Anthony," he said, "there's a couple moving to another state to help a small congregation. They've asked if we know anyone who could take over their territory maps and schedule. The brothers mentioned you." Me. I laughed a little nervously. "I'm still learning, brother." He smiled. "Which means you're qualified. Humility's a requirement." I agreed, even though I felt unsure. But over the next few weeks, I began helping with small responsibilities. Coordinating group field service, handling literature, even giving a student talk during the midweek meeting. And I realized something. The joy I felt from serving Jehovah's people was far greater than the recognition I used to get from office promotions. Then one afternoon, I received a message from an elder in another congregation. It was Brother Edwin, an older gentle man who had once served as a circuit overseer. He'd heard I had a background in business strategy. He explained they were starting a small business training class for young brothers and sisters in underserved areas, and they needed someone to help teach. "It's volunteer work," he said. "No pay, just the joy of helping others." I said yes immediately. I had said no to the world. But here, in the congregation, Jehovah was giving me opportunities to use my skills for something more meaningful. To build not just careers but faith. A few months later, something happened that nearly brought me to tears. I had just finished helping with a Kingdom Hall cleanup when a sister I barely knew approached me. She was in her 60s. Soft-spoken, the kind of person who blends into the background. She said, "I don't know you well, Brother Jameson, but I heard what you gave up to serve Jehovah more fully." She placed a small folded card into my hand. I just wanted to say, "Your example helped me say no to something I was scared to give up." When I opened the card later, it simply read, "What Jehovah gives is always better. Thank you for reminding me." Meir. I didn't cry often, but that night, I did. Because I finally saw it. That no I said to my dream job became a yes to helping others, a yes to spiritual growth, a yes to deeper joy. Jehovah didn't just give me peace, He gave me purpose. He gave me a place to belong. He gave me family, and He reminded me that no sacrifice for Him is ever wasted. If you had told me a year ago that the biggest blessing in my life would come after I turned down a six-figure job, I wouldn't have believed you. But that's exactly what happened. Not long after that heartfelt note from the sister at the Kingdom Hall, life began to shift in small but powerful ways. It started with a phone call, but not from a company this time. It was Brother Edwin again, the elder overseeing the volunteer business training. His voice was calm but excited. "Anthony, there's something I'd like you to consider. It's a project we've been praying about for some time." He explained that a group of brothers were starting a remote learning center to help young publishers and Bible students gain practical work skills while maintaining their theocratic goals. They wanted brothers with professional experience who could teach, not just Excel sheets and marketing, but how to balance work and faith. They had heard about my decision to give up that job, and wanted me to help lead. I was stunned. "No salary," he added quickly, almost apologetically. "We rely mostly on donations and volunteer effort. But you'll be working alongside faithful brothers, and your schedule will still allow you to pioneer." Meir. I was quiet for a while. Then I remembered the scripture we had read at the last meeting. The one about Jehovah providing more than we ask or imagine. I smiled. "I'm in." Meir. Soon I was helping design lesson plans, meeting with young ones from across the region, some fresh out of school, others trying to restart life after setbacks. We covered topics like budgeting, resume writing, starting small businesses, and even how to stay spiritual in stressful work environments. We began each session with prayer. We ended each one with encouragement. And between those moments we built something beautiful. Faith, confidence and connection. One student, Kia, stood out to me. She was 19, newly baptized, and had just lost her job at a clothing store that started requiring Sunday shifts. She told me privately, "I chose meetings over money, but now I don't know what's next." Her eyes were tired. I knew that feeling. We worked together to help her start a small online thrift store. A few months later, she came back smiling, telling me she had made her first profit, And more importantly, she was still pioneering. That day I cried again, because I saw what Jehovah was doing. Meanwhile, things in the congregation blossomed too. One evening after a meeting, Brother Lyle pulled me aside again. "Anthony," he said, "we've been discussing something as a body of elders." I held my breath. "We've seen your progress. The brothers appreciate your example, your work with the young ones, the humility you've shown. We'd like to recommend you for ministerial servant." I didn't know what to say. I had no words, just tears, because I remembered the man I used to be, the man who once thought his value came from boardrooms, business cards and bonuses. But here I was, being trusted with Jehovah's sheep. And that wasn't all. Through the volunteer work I had been referred to a small business owned by a witness couple, who needed help with logistics and strategy. They asked if I could take on a part-time consulting role. The hours were flexible. The pay was modest, but the environment, peaceful, kind, and spiritually safe. It allowed me to keep pioneering. It allowed me to be present at every meeting. It allowed me to keep saying yes to Jehovah, and still support myself. Jehovah didn't just take care of me. He arranged a life far better than anything I could have built on my own. I often lie awake in quiet awe. Not because I'm rich, I'm not. Not because I'm famous, I'm not. But because I finally understand what it means to be blessed. And it all began with one hard decision: saying no to my dream job. I was sitting at the back of the Kingdom Hall one quiet Thursday evening. The midweek meeting had just ended, and the warm chatter of brothers and sisters filled the air. I was watching Brother Malik, the young brother I used to pioneer with, help a new Bible student find scriptures in his study Bible. He looked confident now, joyful, steady. I smiled to myself. That's when Brother Lyle approached and sat beside me. No words for a moment, just the two of us quietly watching the congregation carry on like a beautiful living body. He finally leaned in and said, "Jehovah's used you more than you know, Anthony." I looked at him, a little surprised. He continued, "Do you remember when you turned down that job?" I nodded slowly. "Hard to forget." "Well," he said with a small chuckle, "3 other brothers in the circuit heard about that choice. 2 were facing their own decisions between spiritual goals and career offers. 1 was struggling to pioneer and was thinking of quitting." I didn't interrupt, I just listened. "All 3 made the spiritual choice," he said. "One of them is now serving where the need is greater. Another was just appointed as a ministerial servant. The third, he's still pioneering and says, your story gave him the courage to keep going." My chest tightened with emotion. I never made that choice to impress anyone. I didn't post it online. I didn't make a speech. I just chose Jehovah quietly, faithfully in the privacy of my conscience. But Jehovah took that choice and multiplied it into something far bigger. It reminded me of something I'd once heard in a convention talk. You may not realize the ripple effect of your faith, but Jehovah does, and he uses it. That one no I said behind my apartment door had become a ripple, one that reached other hearts, other lives, other decisions. A few weeks later, I was invited to speak at a youth gathering for 3 congregations. They asked me to give a short encouragement talk on the topic, putting spiritual goals first in a career-driven world. I stood there, looking at the faces of young brothers and sisters, some in school, others newly baptized, all trying to figure out their next steps, and I told them my story. I told them about the call, the offer, the 6-figure salary, the pressure, the prayers, and the peace. I told them how I chose Jehovah first, and how he gave me more than I ever dreamed, not in money, not in titles, but in joy, in purpose, in love, in the kind of life you don't need to escape from, because it's already rich in meaning. After the talk, a young sister came up to me. She looked about 20. She had tears in her eyes. "I was just offered a job that conflicts with my meetings," she said, "and I've been scared to let it go. But now, I know what to do." I didn't need to say much. I just nodded and whispered, "Jehovah will never let you down." Looking back now, I see clearly. That dream job, it would have paid my bills, but starved my soul. Saying no to it was terrifying. But saying yes to Jehovah, it gave me everything that matters. And if you're watching this, and you're standing at that same crossroads, between ambition and faith, Between worldly success and spiritual peace. I want you to know something from someone who's lived it. You will never regret choosing Jehovah first. You may not get what the world promises, but you'll get what Jehovah guarantees: peace, purpose, a future that's everlasting. Thank you for staying with me through this story. If it touched your heart, please leave a comment and let me know. And if you're facing your own tough decision, I'll be praying for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more faith-building stories that prove Jehovah always takes care of those who trust in Him.